Each week here on Ag PhD, we do our Farm Basics segment to address a lot of questions we get from non-farmers. Well, one in particular is, what's the difference between winter crops and spring crops?
Well, that is a really interesting question, and it does get confusing when you hear winter wheat and spring wheat, and you think, wait a minute, isn't it all just wheat? Well, it is just wheat, but the question is going to be, when is it going to be planted? When is it going to be growing in fields? When we think about a winter crop, those actually get planted in the fall or late summer with the idea that they will go dormant over the winter and be ready to harvest in the spring or very early summer.
So we think about wheat, for example. Well, we raise both spring wheat and winter wheat on our farm. The winter wheat we'll usually plant sometime in September. A lot of times it's mid-September. And believe it or not, we actually only harvest the winter wheat maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier than we harvest the spring wheat that gets planted in the spring. The spring wheat we'll usually go out there and we'll plant it in late March, sometime in April. Well, with the winter wheat, we're typically harvesting, I'd say, let's call it just after the 4th of July. With spring wheat, we're harvesting in late July.
All right, well, you think about why would you do that? And there must be some money in it. There must be a good opportunity to make more yield. And there's a good opportunity to make decent yields in winter crops. The whole challenge is going to be where these crops are grown. Oftentimes it's in dry areas of the country, on dry land, non-irrigated production. And farmers are trying to time out, when am I going to get moisture and when is the heat going to come next year? Now, by putting that winter crop out in the fall, if you catch some fall moisture, great. That crop gets up, it gets started, and it has a nice root system underneath it. So when spring comes around, it can just take off and get growing right away. Now, sometimes we don't get that rain in the fall. It doesn't come till late, and all of a sudden it's snow, and that winter wheat doesn't even germinate in the fall. That can be a real problem. Now, with spring wheat, the challenge may be that that moisture came too early, and growers couldn't even get out in the field to plant it. So they're happy they had the winter wheat in the ground, so they at least got a crop.
Well, that leads me into the reason why I really like winter crops, and that's just the work is done. Usually in the spring, we're planting corn, we're planting soybeans, we're planting all these different plots that we do and research, and we're just busy. So if we can get some of that work done in the fall, it's awesome. And Darren also mentioned a little bit more yield potential. Yes, and you think about why there's a little bit more yield potential. It's just because that crop had more time to grow, more time to explore the soil, to find nutrients, bring them into the plant, and turn them into more bushels.
Well, winter crops and spring crops are both very valuable for farmers, but one thing that is not is our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?